Okay. I'm gonna wait a little bit, time that some people join. I've just created a story on Instagram. So let's see. Okay, so I'm just waiting a few minutes to see if there are more people that are going to join. So today is going to last around 30 minutes, I think. I know that the time is not ideal for most of you. I did a poll on Instagram, and most people who were interested about lives on YouTube were from Europe or from the US. And at the moment, I am living in Asia, which is not really great for the time difference and to make lives. But yeah, regarding lives, that's something I'd like to do maybe more like regularly. It's the first time I'm doing one. The goal is to maybe be able to talk with you a bit more in direct ways. Yeah, so you can tell me what you want to learn, what you want me to show you, yeah, things like that. Because usually on Instagram that's not direct, and yeah, that's less easy to talk directly with you all. So yeah, let me know in the chat if you are here, where you are from. I know in Europe at the moment it's early in the morning. I think maybe about 8 or something. Yeah. So I'm just gonna wait a little bit. Yeah, the idea here would be that you tell me what you would like to see in these lives, if there is anything specific you would like to learn, maybe where you are used to edit your photos. In the poll I did on Instagram, I had some people telling me they wanted to see Lightroom edits, but I think the bigger part were a full Photoshop workflow. However, for full Photoshop workflow, we will need to do like long lives, maybe 2 hours. So I was thinking maybe do just step by step. Like today, I'm probably going to show you maybe a raw development inside of Photoshop and a few techniques like cleaning and things like this. But doing a full workflow might be a bit long. So yeah, for today there will be just a few steps. And then let's see, if you really want to see full workflows, maybe we can do longer lives. So yeah. Okay, so here I have one photo. I am going to go inside of Photoshop. I am with my phone, so I'm trying to see what you see. So if there is a bug, I should be able to see it, but in case I don't, just write inside of the chat. So I have this photo here, and the thing I wanted to show you is that here there was a photo I shot, kind of spontaneous photo. I was not really out to shoot specific photos, but I had my camera with me. That's kind of a funny days because I was in this city in Vietnam, in Hoi An, and in the old town you are close to the river, and that day everything was flooded in the old town, so that was really nice. But here, so this street was not flooded, but that was not packed and not many people, just a few people walking around. And yeah, I really like the lanterns and with the color of the walls and everything. So I took this photo, but I didn't have a tripod, and that was quite dark in the street. So I ended up with a photo that is kind of like there is kind of a lot of noise on the photo, but I still really liked it. So now inside of Lightroom, there is a tool that allows you to reduce the noise directly inside of Lightroom or Camera Raw, but it works only for raw image. So if you open a JPEG, it's not going to work. So the tool, you're gonna find it in detail, and this is called denoise. So that's a really great thing because now you don't need an external plugin anymore. Something that works really well to denoise is the Topaz plugins, but now you can do it inside of Camera or Lightroom directly. So you just have to click denoise. So let me zoom in a little bit. Click denoise. I hope it's not going to crash my laptop because I'm doing the live at the same time. And here we are going to be able to see the preview. So you can see it works pretty well. So you can see here on the side, we see the noise in the sky. And then here in the little square, we see the preview. So I recommend to don't go too far because here I'm at 94%. If you go too far, it might look a bit like plastic. So yeah, don't exaggerate. I usually like to stay around 50. And that way you reduce the noise quite a lot, but it's still natural. And then you just click enhance, and it's going to create another file. So it's going to create a DNG file, and then you can directly edit on this file and do your raw developments. So I'm just going to wait the time that it's working. So if you just join, you can say hi in the chat. Yeah, I'm going to do a bit of editing and then I will reintroduce this live and what it is about. Okay, so here you can see I have my new file, my new DNG file. And here that means the original image, you still have it with the noise and everything, but then you have created another image without the noise, but it's still a raw image and you can keep editing. So here, before clicking on denoise, I did a little raw development, something very simple. What I did is just work on the settings of the light section of Camera Raw. So if you don't know, Camera Raw is exactly the same as Lightroom, okay? So Lightroom has all the possibilities with the libraries, which Camera Raw doesn't have. But in terms of editing, this is really the same. So yeah, that's why I'm working inside of Camera Raw, because then I know I'm going to switch inside of Photoshop, and Camera Raw is integrated directly inside of Photoshop, which makes it easier, yeah, in the workflow. Also non-destructive, but yeah. So here you can see what I did in the light section. So yeah, I'm going to show you that's before, That's after I just opened the shadows a little bit, reduce the highlights, so you know we have nice highlight, nice soft highlights. And then I did a few things in effects so you can see before and after. That's really subtle, but it helps in the lights to make it this dreamy effects, a little bit more dreamer. But it's very subtle. The reason is that I had two photos that I wanted to combine. So in those cases, you need to be very subtle in what you do, because then we are going to go inside of Photoshop and combine these two photos, and we don't want the photos to be too different in terms of light, in terms of colors, because they are going to come together. So the big raw development, the most of the settings will be done after we combine those two photos. So yeah, that's how you reduce the noise inside of Camera. This is the same inside of Lightroom. So if you use Lightroom, that's not a problem. You can do the same. I think that's like you go to details and you're gonna have this button. If it's gray, that's because the format of your photo doesn't allow Lightroom or Camera to process this denoise effect. So yeah, now I'm just going to click on cancel, because I actually already did all that. Cancel all changes, yes. And then you can see I have my image here. I already started the edit, but I want to show you how I did that. So what I'm gonna do today, I think, because it's going to be a short live, I'm just going to show you how I combine two photos together, and then we might unpack the colors of this edit to know in which direction we are going to go for the color grading. Yeah, let me know if you are in the chat. Just say hi. I think for now there is no one. I know that the time is not ideal for most of you, but yeah, I'm gonna try to fix that for the next lives. If you are watching the replay, just let me know in the comments what's best for you in terms of time. Like, is it better in the evening? Is it better in the morning? And of course, tell me what's your time zone. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense for me. As I said at the beginning, where there were no one, I think, in the live, I'm at the moment living in Asia, which is kind of a different time zone than most of you, because it seems like most of you are from the US or from Europe. But yeah, so I'm waiting a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how and why I combine two photos together. So I see there are some people in the chat, but maybe you're a bit shy. I don't mind, because I'm not really the kind to talk too much in the live chat usually, so I understand. Okay, so I'm going to publish this live, so everyone will be able to watch it, to watch the replay. If you are watching the replay, please let me know in the comments what you would like to see in the next live, if you prefer to see some specific techniques, if you want to see full workflows. If you prefer full workflows, do you prefer Lightroom? Do you prefer Photoshop? Let me know. The goal is really to be able to talk all together. Hopefully there'll be more people in the next live. Yeah, so I'm going to show you now. So I had those two photos. I had this first photo, and then I had this photo. And I prefer that second photo. The reason is that there is this subject here that is interesting to me, that is in movement, and well placed in the frame. Not perfect, to be honest, but well placed. And yeah, I kind of preferred this composition, but at the same time, I didn't like those people are here walking behind the subject I'm interested in. So that's the reason why I decided to combine two photos. So you see I have this photo here, where in this area here, we don't have those people. So which means I could use this photo to fill this one. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's something that is quite relatively easy to do if you can align the two photos together in Photoshop. So that's why that's what I decided to do. So to do that, you need to have your two photos as layers in your project. So here, what I did is that I imported the two photos, and then you select your two layers and you go to edit and then auto align layers. Here I'm not going to do it because I did it already, but just you click on it and you are going to have your two layers aligned, which means that you are not going to have difference in levels and everything. So then when we mask out a part of the layer, it's going to be seamless. So I repeat, you just select your two layers, you go to edit, and then auto align layers. Okay, so and then you can see here what I did is just that. So I have this image here, this image here. The image that I want to keep is this one with the subject in the middle. But then I had to remove this part here with the people walking beyond my subject. So I just had to create a mask and to paint out this part. And you can see the people are gone, and that's what I wanted for my final image, at least my final plate that I'm then going to be able to edit. So that's how you combine two images together. So now it's not perfect. You can see there are some problems here on the road because there are still the shadows of the people. But that's things that we can edit afterwards. So then what I decided to do is to flatten my layers. So when you want to flatten the layers, this is Command Option Shift E inside of Photoshop. And I created a smart object and I did the official row development, what I would do on any photos. But here, because I had to combine those two photos before doing any edits, I didn't do the row development first. So yeah, so I'm going to show you what I did as the row development. Here you can see this is before and this is after. I kind of started to work on the colors. I know that later in the edit I'm going to add some stars. I don't think that I'm going to change the sky because I don't want it to be too distracting, but I'm probably going to add a few stars to make this scene really dreamy. So yeah. So I'm going to show you what I did. So first I went into this section here and fixed the geometry of the general photo. So I like it because usually it works pretty well and it will fix the vertical and the horizontal of your image. So before and after. Then in the general settings, I fixed a bit the light, so you can see before and after. Very, very, very subtle because we already did that at the very first row development. So we didn't need to go too far with that. And then for the colors here, I went more towards blue. I really want to emphasize this night effect. So usually when you add some blue in your photos, in the mind of most people is going to emphasize the fact that it's nighttime. So yeah, before and after. Then the effect section, so I went down with the clarity and added a bit of texture to don't lose the details in the walls, in the trees, and things like this, because clarity can sometimes blur a bit everything, and that's not what we want. Even though we want a dreamy effect, we also want to keep a bit of texture here and there. Then I use a curve, kind of a light S curve. You can see before and after. And I work also with the red channel and the blue channel, as you can see. So here what I did is that I raised the blues in the shadows and I did the opposite in the highlight. So in the highlight, I reduced the blues a little bit. If you reduce the blues with the curves, it's going to add the opposite color, and the opposite color of blue is yellow. So it's emphasizing the yellows in the highlight only, and that's why the curves, usually it's a very powerful tool. You can do a lot of things. You can really work on contrast, but also work on colors just with the curve. Then we have the color mixer where I work a little bit. You can see that's before, that's after. Look at the reds, especially the reds before and after. And then color grading, that usually I like to do a split toning. So what is a split toning is that you add a color in the shadows and another color in the highlight. And here I emphasize this complementary color scheme by adding blues in the shadows and kind of a orange yellow in the highlights. So I just emphasize once again what I did with the curves. So that's it for the raw development. So this is before, this is after. As I said right before, this is a second raw development, so it's not super strong because we combine two photos together prior to this action. So I'm gonna click OK. And then you can see, so that's how we started and that's where we are now. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little break here, see if anyone wants to add anything, say hi in the chat. But I think there is no one connected. Maybe I didn't give the right link, I don't know. So that's the very first time I'm doing a live. So maybe there are some things not working, I don't know. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm going to show you how I cleaned a bit of the photo, and then I'm going to show you one way you can easily see what are the main colors in your images. That's very important to know what are the colors you have in your photos, because it's going to give you direction on how you are going to color grade your image. So I'm going to show you quickly how I clean this image a little bit. And I actually didn't finish to clean the image, but yeah. So here I have a layer with generative fill. The reason is that there were still a few people walking behind my subject, and I didn't want it to distract the image, to distract the eyes from the subject. So this is the reason why I decided to remove those people. So here I used generative AI because that was much faster and easier. Sometimes it works well, sometimes not. So I would always recommend to try out first and see if that works. And yeah, so I'll show you how it works here. It's not too bad. It's not perfect, but it's not too bad. And then it created kind of a weird things on the hat here. So even though it's in movement, I didn't want to have this weird thing here. So I fixed it with another layer. And here I think I used the stamp tool to make it look better. Okay. So I'm going to de-zoom all that. So this is with the two layers together, before and after, so it's less distracting beyond our main subject. Okay, and then I had to fix kind of the weird things happening here. If you just arrived in the live, the reason why there are weird things happening is that we combine two photos together, but we still have some shadows here. So I started to clean that. So the combination of the two photos are more seamless. Okay, so now I think there would be still more things to clean, but I would prefer to show you one way to see what are the main colors in your image. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm going to flatten my layer. So Command Option Shift E. And there are two ways to know what kind of colors you have in your image. My favorite way is to go inside of Adobe Color and to unpack the colors there. So with that technique, you need an internet connection. But in case you don't have an internet connection, there is a way to do it inside of Photoshop. If you are a beginner, Adobe Color is better because you're gonna see the color wheel, so you will be able to see quickly if there is a color harmony already on your photo. If you do it inside of Photoshop, you need to download the color wheel or to have in your mind the different color harmony that exists. So yeah, what I'm gonna do, so I flattened the layer. I'm going to create another layer, empty layer, and then I want to fill it with 50% gray. You can do Shift F5 or just go to Edit, Fill. Contains 50% gray, okay? You might have different things. Just click on 50% gray and you keep that as it is here and you click on OK. And you're gonna have a 50% gray layer. So your image is turning all gray. That's completely normal, don't worry. That's on a new layer. So if you uncheck the layer, your photo is back to normal. That is why you need to create another layer and don't do it directly on the photo, okay? Let me know in the comments if you know how layers work in Photoshop, or if it's something that I would need to explain. Maybe in the future I could do a live about that. Okay, so now that you have your 50% gray layer, you are going to change the blending mode. So the blending mode hits here in Photoshop, and you can see that if you change the blending mode, there are different things happening. And here, we want to go on luminosity. What is happening here we only see the colors, the main colors of our photo now. So sometimes it's not super clear. So what you can do is to add an adjustment layer. So you click on adjustment. If you don't see this window, you go to window and you click on adjustment. And we're gonna take a hue and saturation and add a bit of saturation. Don't go too far, otherwise it's going to change the colors. But yeah, around 30, plus 30, it allows us to see the colors more clearly. Be careful with this technique. Once you have noticed all the colors, toggle off your layers, go outside for a bit, look outside from your window, because the problem with that is that the saturation is so strong that when you look at your photo without those layers, you feel like the colors are completely flat, which is not the case. It's just your eyes that got used to the very saturated layer. So when you do that, don't start to edit directly after. Have a look at what's around you for a bit and then start to edit. Let me check the chat. I lost the chat. Okay. Nothing happening there. Sorry, just taking a little break to see if everyone got the link. So because that's our first live, I didn't share the link everywhere. Okay. So if you just arrived, just feel free to say hi and to tell me where you're from. I see some people coming. Unfortunately, that's almost the end of this live. But that was just an introduction to editing live session. The goal is to be able to talk a bit more directly than through comments on Instagram or DMs where it's all written form. Here we would be able to talk more, and if you have questions while I edit, you can always ask. If there is anything specific you want to learn, you can let me know and I can plan lives on these specific topics. So yeah, that's the goal with those live session, is that we can talk together more directly. I can answer your questions. So here what I was doing is that I was showing you how you can see before you edit your photo what are the main colors in your photos. So here this is one of the techniques that you can do directly inside of Photoshop. So you add a new layer, 50% gray layer, that you set on luminosity, and you're gonna see the main colors. So here, what can we see? We can see that we have the main colors. I would say I'm going to create a new layer to do some markups. The main colors are blue. So we have some blue here. Let me change the opacity. So we have some blues here. Here it's almost purple, but we can turn it into blue. We have a lot of blues even in the buildings, okay? And we also have quite a lot of orange. So here the main colors, the dominant colors, are definitely orange, yellow, and blue, which are complementary colors. So here we already have colors that match with each other on this photo, and we have quite a lot of red. which would create the perfect split complementary color scheme. Red goes very well with green, and here we don't have too much green, it's just accent, so we can just keep it as green. It will resonate well with the red. And we have some magentas, which is the opposite color of green, but I'm not a big fan of magenta, so I tend to turn them into reds. So that's what are the color unpacking for. We are able to see what are the different colors. And here, for example, I would know that in my color grading step, I would need to turn maybe the magenta into reds. Maybe if I wanted to emphasize the blues here more on the road, probably something I would do as well. And I see that here also there are some magentas. Maybe I will want to turn them into orange or into reds instead of keeping the magenta. So here, that's really the moment where you unpack the colors and you make your decision on what you are, on how you are going to manipulate those colors to then do the color grading. So yeah, that's how you unpack your colors. Here, because I'm used to color grade my images and I've been learning color theory, I know how the color wheel looks like, so I know what is a split complementary and how to create one. But if you don't know that, I would recommend to use Adobe Color, so you can see directly what kind of color harmony you have already on your image or not, and you can also directly on the color wheel move the colors around to see what could work the best. So I might do a live about color, Adobe Color next time. Let me know if it's something you are interested in as well. There are so many topics we could talk about in this live, so yeah, just let me know what you are interested in the most, and we're gonna make this happen next time. Okay, so there were pretty much no one in this live. If you look at the replay, let me know what would be the best time for you. Once again, I'm pretty sure that the time is not ideal for most of you because it must be too early or even nighttime in US and too early in Europe. And we are in the middle of the week, so I guess a lot of you are working as well, which I totally understand. So tell me what is your time zone in the comments and what is the best time for you, so I can try and find the best time for the next lives. I'm hoping to do that regularly, maybe once a week, twice a month. Let's see. And yeah, if you are interested in everything, editing, retouching bootcamp, and starting in less than 20 days now. The waitlist is still open, but it's going to close next week. So if you are interested to know what it is, this is a 4 weeks course and mentorship. All the info are in the description. There is a link, and you're gonna have all the infos by clicking the link. That's not the purpose of this live, so I'm not going to talk too much about this. But yeah, this is the end of this live. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope there will be more people in the next live. And yeah, that's it for today.